let's talk about a particular type of enabler today. You know, there's so much information, and we often obviously talk about enablers when it comes to narcissistic family systems and the relationships that we have with the people in that system. And of course, you know, when we talk about enablers, we know that these are the people that will, you know, carry on the narcissist's agenda, right? They are the message carriers. They are the ones who enable the narcissist behavior. They are the ones who will gaslight you and minimize you for the sake of keeping the narcissist calm. And of course, you know, often you will hear, you know, it's pretty black and white, right? You know, enablers are the narcissist's minions and they are not safe for you. And I agree with that. But having said that, I want to discuss today the struggle that the scapegoat has with the good parent. And to me, I feel like the good parent in these dynamics is often the reason why we scapegoats struggle so much with guilt and shame, and why there's such a heavy weight on our shoulders when we try to distance ourselves from the narcissistic parent. You know, the struggle with the good parent is basically brings us through a roller coaster of emotions and conflicting loyalties. The good parent will be oftentimes, as it was in my case, I speak for myself, a source of comfort for the scapegoat, right? They will be the understanding parent. They will be the ones who will actually sometimes be there for you legitimately. They will help you. They can maybe provide financial support. They will give you a ride. They will come and do whatever. You know, they will be the good parent, right? They will behave like a good parent. But they will be a good parent as long as a narcissistic parent isn't around. They will be a good parent to you when it's just the two of you. But when the narcissist shows up in the picture, how quickly does their tune change, and how quickly do all the things that you guys talked about in private, the bonding that you did, how quickly all of that disappears for the sake of keeping the narcissistic parent calm. So what happens is that that sudden switch in behavior, the good parent's behavior, it becomes such a source of confusion and disorientation really for the scapegoat, because the connection that was established, it comes and goes according to the narcissistic parent, who dictates, you know, who gets to have a relationship with the family scapegoat. Really, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. And the good parent, they will treat us as a good parent, but then they will betray their own child. This is betrayal and abandonment. When the narcissist dictates that they must do otherwise when they're in the room. And this brings about so much grief and anger and a sense of worthlessness and self-doubt and a feeling of nothingness for the scapegoat. And as scapegoats, we are often caught between the dilemma of loving the narcissistic, the good parent, you know, loving the good parent, and you know, cherishing the genuine connection that we shared with that good parent, while also needing to protect our mental health and distance ourselves from the narcissistic parent, because their influence is so damaging to us and to our health. And this inner conflict will create so much confusion for the scapegoat, and it will create so much psychological damage, this type of dynamic. And over time, this confusion can really lead us to get very sick. And that's because we have a bond with a parent, we care about them, we watch them get old, we love them, we don't imagine not ever being able to not take care of them, and yet the narcissist orchestrates the whole thing, plays the whole family like a puppet, and then we end up being forced to choose between our own mental health and loving the good parent. If I can tell you a little bit of a personal example, as I always do, with my own father. My own father, I have always bonded with him. And in fact, there's a lot. This is not black and white, of course, because as I distanced myself from my narcissistic family system, I started noticing, thanks to that distance, that good parent wasn't actually always that good. In my case, I was his favorite, but the golden child did not exist to him. The golden child was my mother's favorite, and I was my father's favorite. And that, created a very different realities for us children in that narcissistic family system. Completely different realities. But I'll tell you, the bond that I had with my father, he was really the person that I would sit down with and talk to. He never bothered me when it was just me and him. He wasn't critical of me. If I was in trouble, like if my car popped a tire somewhere, he would come and help me change the tire, to give you an example. And we would sit sometimes at night together, and he would comfort me and tell me he knows she's crazy, but we're family, and he sticks it out, so I need to stick it out too. And it was a mess. It was an absolute psychological mess. And also the other thing that played was that he was, he wasn't the abuser, right? But here's the thing that I want to tell you guys. And this is my advice to you now. The good parent, the good enabler, you love him, I understand that. They can have our love, and they can have our time, they can have our favors, we can be there for them, but they can't have our mental health. They can't have our safety, our emotional safety. They can't have our life essence. We can't give them our sanity. We can't give them our peace. Those are the very things that are your essence. It's your life. How are you going to operate in this world if you lose this? They can't have your mental health. And so, sadly, when I told my father, in the end, the final time, I love you, but I can't have a relationship with her. So if you want to have a relationship with me, I'm here. But I can't have a relationship with her. So as long as you continue forcing me to have a relationship with her, I can't expose myself to this woman. Here's the paperwork, Dad. Panic disorder, anxiety disorder. Those are all things that I actually was diagnosed with. And while I was dealing with that dynamic between, the good parent and being loyal to my father and being there for my father, and my narcissistic mother. Now, as I take distance, as I went no contact, and as I distance myself from the entire thing, Here's what I want to tell you guys from this experience, okay? That parent, the good parent, is actually behaving like a parent is sort of supposed to, you know? I'm a mom. I'm supposed to be there for my kids. When my kids are in trouble, I'm there for them. Like, this is something that we're supposed to do as parents. We're there for our children, you know? It's not like I asked a stranger for help. It was my own family. Like, what is family there for, really, if it's not for us to help each other out and give each other strength and give each other support through tough times, right? Him asking me in return to give up my mental health is not something that I can do. It's not for sale. It's not a bargain. You understand? Your mental health is not a bargaining tool. It's not part of any deal. It is not love. And the other thing too is, you know, that parent who does nice things for you when you're alone, but they will turn on you when the narcissistic parent shows up. They will abandon you when the narcissistic parent tells them that they have to abandon you, when they, you know, smear your name. That parent is actually betraying you. It's a betrayal. You know, betrayal never comes from your enemies. It comes from your loved ones. And this is really betrayal. That play, that mind game, that they're there for you, but they will disappear when the real source of trauma is there. You know, you're dealing with denial, and you're dealing with people's inability to confront the true dysfunction of the family system. Now, you can gently tell them, I love you, I'm here for you, but I can't have a relationship with this person, and they will have to decide what their next move is going to be. But what you're doing is not abandonment. You're simply protecting yourself. You're protecting your mental health. You are not abandoning anybody when you protect yourself. I stayed in that dynamic because of my father for years after the fact. And like I said, I developed anxiety disorder and I was diagnosed with panic disorder, and they gave me pills that I took for 3 years, which I don't take anymore because my doctor even said that disorder was, what happened to me was situational. Like, it doesn't come from my own head. There's nothing wrong with me. I was traumatized because of the situation that I was in. And so the pills that I took was to temporarily alleviate, you know, the trauma, the situation that I was in. The panic disorder and the anxiety disorder came directly from that parent keeping me in that toxic relationship, and me doing that because I felt guilty and because I genuinely loved him. We can give them our love, and we can give them many things, but don't give your mental health to anyone. That is not a bargaining chip. You can't bargain your mental health in exchange for a relationship with a good parent. That's not on the table, you understand? It's not something that you can give. If I would have continued down that road, my children would not have had a healthy mother. My husband would not have had a healthy wife, okay? I wouldn't be able to work. I wouldn't be able to function. I would still be very ill because I would still be stuck in that system. So, you know, the most important thing that I can tell you is you have your non-negotiables and you have your boundaries, and your boundaries are they're not meant to hurt other people. They are simply a way for you to protect yourself, your mental health, your physical space, your safety. You know, your boundaries are simply that line that define who you are as a person and what you can tolerate, what you can't. And a person that loves you will respect that. They will respect that. A healthy person will respect you, and you will still have a healthy relationship together, you know, because boundaries is a mutual thing. I respect your boundaries, you respect mine, and that's how healthy relationships thrive. So all you can do really in these situations, in my opinion, is you set your healthy boundaries, you communicate what's okay, what's not okay, and the ball is in their court. And they will accuse you of abandoning them. They will, because that's the system That's the mentality that they operate under. For them, they are asking you to sacrifice yourself in the name of love, in the same way that, like, they're asking you to jump off a bridge and kill yourself for them. Seriously, you know, they're asking you to complete, they're asking you to live, to continue living your life traumatized for their love. And that's not okay. That is not okay. They should not ask that out of you. And that is not okay to ask you to do that, no matter what favor or what they did for you. You need your mental health. You need your mind. You need your safety to live your life. Those are not bargaining chips. So I hope that this story kind of helps you a little bit. I am talking about this story because I'm aware that this is a common dynamic, especially, you know, that I saw it a lot with daughters of narcissistic mothers and like the fathers, the good fathers, you know, this is something that I've seen. And so of course, if you experience something similar, you can share it in the comments if this has been your experience. But, you know, keep in mind that your mental health is, you have to guard your mental health with your life, okay? Guard your mental health and make everything that you do from now on centered around your own emotional and physical safety, okay? So remember, repeat the mantra, I love myself, I trust myself, and take good care of yourself, because you deserve to live a good life. You deserve to live a life in peace. Always remember that. Peace is your right. Don't let anybody take that away from you for any reason.